people, what is going on? It is Essie Love. Happy day. I'm back with actually lesson 1 in the Covenants and Contracts series. Of course, I'm with Mission Legal, Law in a Nutshell, God's Law, Federal Law, State Law. And so I'm so happy to be back. I hope that you're having an incredible Wednesday. I hope that you had a wonderful week and weekend. I had a really full week. And I'm glad that we're past the week, but it was a good week though. And I don't like saying busy. I try not to say busy. Busy sometimes comes off as negative to me, at least. It's just like, oh, I'm just so busy. I'm busy. And it just makes it just like a little weird. So, but I had a full week, and last week was my birthday. So I am another year younger. I almost said older. I'm another year younger. So for all of my October babies or my brothers and sisters, happy birthday to you. Libra shout out, big up to you guys. For all of my Scorpios, happy birthday, upcoming birthday. I'm not gonna leave you out. Mad love to you too. So I hope today, like I said, is a wonderful day. And before I begin, it's not going to be a long lesson. I just want to pray that each of you that's listening or that will be listening, I just pray for your heart, your mind, your soul, and your spirit. I pray that, whatever you may be, experiencing right now, we're thinking good or bad, and I won't say bad, but whether it is good or not so good, or whether you have a lot of different challenges coming up, or you have a lot on your plate, or you're feeling overwhelmed, or whatever, however your days are going or have been going. I just pray that there's a peace that comes over you. I pray that you take your concerns and your cares to God. I pray that you would remember that you are not in this walk alone, that there are others around you that have experienced what you have experienced, that are experiencing what you're experiencing. Most importantly, you have someone on your side, and his name is God. And he has sent his son, Jesus, to be our savior, to connect us back to God, and that we don't have to do this walk alone. So remember that. Remember that you have someone that is advocating for you that you can't see, but who created you. So don't live life alone, okay? It's easier said than done. Trust and believe. I know, because I do it a lot, but I have to be reminded often. You can't do everything in your own power. So that was on my heart to share. So I wanted to share it. So I do pray for you. I pray right now that you're in a good headspace, that you're ready for this lesson. It's nothing major. It's very basic, but it's so essential and it's so valuable to be able to build upon where we're going. Okay. So hang in there with me. Please don't be like, oh my gosh, I already know what these things mean. I'm just going to shut this off. Don't shut it off. Don't shut it. Stop it right now. Don't even think about it. You got to have this piece to be able to go where we're going. Okay. All right. So lesson 1, totally easy. 3 terms that we're going to go over. And the last video I did, the question was, what is a covenant, right? And you had a little bit of homework from that last lesson, but we won't go over the homework in this round. Hopefully, maybe the next video, maybe the next video or whatever, but we'll see. But each lesson, I'm going to give you homework to expound, and it's really for you, okay? But I opened up with what is a covenant, and we went through this really huge rule block of what is a covenant, and it was a lot. However, covenant is going to be in the list of 3 today, but it's going to be much smaller. We're just going to kind of skim over it a little bit. Okay. So right now, all I want to do is I want to focus on 3 terms: rule, element, and covenant. Okay. So the first thing is, what is a rule? What I looked up, and all of the definitions that I have, again, have come from either Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, Google, dictionary.com. It's been put together, and Black's Law Dictionary. When I do mention anything legal, it's come from Black's Law Dictionary. Okay. So rule, first one. In my definition, I have a rule is a guide or principle for governing conduct, action, procedure, arrangement, etc. A rule is also the code of regulations observed by a religious order or congregation. A rule is the customary or normal circumstance, occurrence, manner, practice, quality, etc. I don't know what that is. A usual way of doing something. Govern, give us a decision. So a rule is all of that. Now in Black's Law Dictionary, it defined rule as, or the part that I pulled out was, a rule is generally an established and authoritative standard or principle, a general norm mandating or guiding conduct or action in a given type of situation. That is a lot for rule. What I prefer to say, and I told you in one of my videos, was I'm not going to give you the rule block. I'm going to give you synonyms. I'm going to give you terms and words that really make sense to the everyday person, everyday life. Not that there's anything wrong with an actual rule block, but you got to make sense of it. You got to be able to say, well, where does that apply and how does it apply? Right? So this is what I would give you. A rule is a regulation. Now, these are all synonyms. One word, I call them one word definitions. Okay. Because it's still defining the word rule. It's just one word. A rule is a regulation. A rule is a law. A rule is an act. A rule is a commandment. A rule is a decree, and a rule is a statute. So that's what I would say. If I was talking to my children or anybody, it's like, well, a rule is a commandment. If something's commanded, it's decreed. It's told that this is what you have to do. So that's how we define rule. And those are just 6 synonyms that I pulled off. There's many, many more synonyms. I just chose those 6. Okay. So that's rule. Element. What is an element? An element is a component or constituent of a whole, or one of the parts into which a whole may be resolved by analysis. An element is our simplest principles. I like that one because it's really simple. Elements are simplest principles. Also, an element is a part or aspect of something abstract, especially one that is essential or characteristic. If I were defining element, I would say one of the 6. An element is a component. An element is a part. An element is a section. An element is a detail. An element is a point, or an element is essential. And I love essential because an element is really essential. It's really important to anything, to a rule. It's a really important part of that. It's that detail that you actually need. And there's some elements that are not, but mostly an element is essential. So I liked that. That really resonated with me. And lastly, a covenant. What is a covenant? We went over this before, but a covenant is an agreement, usually formal, between 2 or more persons to do or not to do something, right? Specified, excuse me. A covenant is, as defined in the law, a covenant is an incidental clause in such an agreement. An incidental clause in such an agreement, like your mortgage contracts have covenants in them, and commercial real estate, right, have covenants in them. So it's an incidental clause in such an agreement. Ecclesiastically speaking, a covenant is a solemn agreement between the members of a church to act together in harmony with the precepts of a gospel. And so we went over that on the last video. If I were defining covenant, I would say one of the 6. A covenant is a contract. A covenant is a commitment. A covenant is a pledge. A covenant is a bond. A covenant is an understanding, which I like that one. And a covenant is a guarantee. So again, we went over that, but that's what covenant would be, and that's what it is. So that is it. That's all I wanted to go over today. I didn't want to go over anything else. I want you to really kind of go over those terms. I want you to really use them. Think about how you're using what rules. And actually I have the homework for you. So maybe I should lean into that. Maybe I'll segue into what the homework is. Okay. So for your homework, I want you to list about 3 to 4 rules, and with each rule, or 2, if you can only think of 2 rules, right? And the rules could be state rules, federal rules, local rules, biblical rules, or your individually crafted rules, like in your household rules. It could be any rule, but I want you to list with those rules what those elements are. List those elements and go back to what an element is. It's a detail, right? It's a component. It's essential. What are those elements to those rules? So let's just say 2 to 4 rules. And if you want to do more and more, if you're going to think of one good rule, and because you know those elements, that's fine. However many rules, list those. And then, but be sure that the elements are really actual elements of that rule. So if you choose a state rule and say you choose something like stopping at the red light, well, there should be, if you run a red light, then you'll be imprisoned, or say you'll get a ticket. Whatever that rule is, you need to go look it up, see if there's some elements to those rules, because I really want to try to put this stuff together because we're eating, right? We're going to build this sandwich or make a cake. I'm going to make this cake. And you know what one of my new favorite cakes is? I want to say it's like a key lime cake because it tastes like key lime and it has like cream cheese frosting on it. Oh my, I just tasted it this past weekend. Oh my goodness. It is so good. It's my new favorite cake. I have several cakes that I love. A lot of things. That's the first one. That's the one that just popped off the top of my head. So we're going to make this key lime, this most scrumptious cake. So I really need you to have that rule and those elements. And that's homework. That's the homework for the week. Okay. So love and peace from my space to yours. Remember, you are not alone. You are not in this life alone. We are all together. And let's do that. Let's live life together, but live it with the one who created us, God the Father, who sent his son Jesus to die on a cross for our sins, to give us life, and to live life with others, and to remember his words. Remember that if you have any cares, please cast it to the Lord, because he really truly does care for you. Okay? And that's biblical. That's in Peter. Okay? Love and peace. I shall see you guys, or you'll see me next week.